September 1st, 1939. What if the screams a battlefield medic heard in the darkness were not only from dying men, but from a world that had failed to notice a monster quietly preparing for war? Long before German tanks rolled into Poland on this exact date, Adolf Hitler had already built one of the most terrifying war machines in history, not in open daylight, but in shadows, through deception, broken treaties, and human suffering hidden behind paperwork and silence. And to understand how it happened, you must step into the boots of the ordinary soldiers and medics who were thrown into the result of that secret preparation. Men who did not see politics, but blood, steel, and horror. Hitler began rebuilding Germany's military as early as openly violating the Treaty of Versailles while publicly denying it, using fake civilian programs to train pilots, turning sports clubs into paramilitary units, and disguising tank development as agricultural machinery projects, while factories that claimed to make tractors quietly produced armored components at night. German medics stationed near early training grounds later recalled treating soldiers burned by experimental engines and crushed during accidents that were never reported. Because these were not accidents, they were the cost of secrecy. By 1935, conscription was reintroduced, aircraft production exploded, and the Luftwaffe was born under the lie that Germany was merely defending itself, while underground medical facilities expanded as well, preparing for mass casualties long before the first shot was fired. And one field medic's diary described stitching wounds in candlelight after live-fire exercises where recruits collapsed from exhaustion and fear. Already sensing that something darker was coming, as the war machine grew, so did its hunger for speed and efficiency. And this is where the horror deepened. Hitler's blitzkrieg doctrine demanded rapid movement with minimal regard for human cost, forcing medics to follow advancing units under fire, often ordered to leave the dying behind to maintain momentum. And during the invasion of Poland in September 1939, medical corpsmen reported treating soldiers while bombs still fell around them, hands shaking as they chose who might live and who would be abandoned, choices forced by a war machine built without mercy. The secrecy did not stop at weapons. It extended to ideology, as soldiers were indoctrinated to believe in invincibility, and medics were pressured to return wounded men to the front prematurely to preserve the illusion of strength. And one chilling account from 1941 on the Eastern Front describes a medic crawling through snow under Soviet artillery fire, finding a young infantryman frozen alive, eyes open, mouth locked in a silent scream, his body sacrificed to maintain the advance. Demanded by Hitler's plans, Hitler's war machine relied heavily on industrial coordination, and by 1942, factories across occupied Europe were feeding it, using forced labor to produce tanks, artillery, and ammunition at a scale never seen before. And field hospitals overflowed as medics treated not only German soldiers, but also abused laborers secretly dumped at their doors. Men beaten, starved, and worked until their bodies failed, creating a hidden second battlefield of suffering that official reports never mentioned. As Allied bombing intensified, Hitler doubled down, ordering continued production even as cities burned. And medics in bombed-out German towns described horrific seeing civilians fused into rubble. Children pulled alive from ruins, only to die hours later, evidence that the war machine now consumed its own people. And yet, the orders never slowed. By 1944, the illusion of invincibility collapsed, but the machine kept grinding forward, most famously demonstrated in desperate operations where medics worked under constant fire, such as urban battles where evacuation was impossible, and one medic later compared these moments to hell without flames, as screams echoed through shattered buildings and morphine ran out, forcing him to hold soldiers as they died, knowing the war had been lost long before, but still fighting because retreat was forbidden. Hitler's secret was never just hidden factories or illegal weapons. It was the systematic removal of humanity from warfare, a machine built on speed, obedience, and silence. And when it finally collapsed in 1945, it left behind millions of dead and countless haunted survivors, including medics who survived the bullets but never escaped the memories. And now the question that should haunt us and force you to speak in the comments is this: if the world had recognized the warning signs earlier, the secret rearmament, the quiet suffering, the first ignored screams in the dark, This horror had been stopped before September 1, 1939, ever arrived.